And there's a lot of art all over the place. I always laugh that they have cows up because the people who came here and found gold and silver and became incredibly wealthy hated the cow town. Denver's a cow town, and now we're a cow town.
Well, now we're art about cow town.
There we go, art about cow town.
Yeah. I've got to say, as a pedestrian, though, I feel a little bit slighted by the orientation of this piece.
Why?
Like, couldn't they turn the cow? I mean, you're walking past, eye level, from this angle. I don't know. It's just, I feel like it's the southbound end of a northbound cow, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's a campaign ad from 2006.
Is it really?
Yeah, Bob Beaupre. Standing at the wrong end of a horse and wearing a black cowboy hat. Metaphors that never work in any election in any state.
Here's my question about Bob Beaupre. So Bob Beaupre, last time he ran for governor, didn't he lose by 17 points?
17 percentage points, and I think it was much greater because Denver's election was so flawed that hundreds of people couldn't vote. The machines jammed.
Really?
I think he lost by more than 20 percentage points.
So how do you, if you lose by 17 points, sit out a couple cycles and come back and then you're in it? Okay, fellas, it's time for a trip to the man cave. Pop open a non-alcoholic beer. Smoking is allowed, but only if it's something really manly, like a giant cigar or perhaps a corncob pipe. I know, I'm man-ish, and that's not the same thing as actually being a man, but that's why I have the O'Douls and the wood paneling behind me and the cigars and pipes to set you at ease. All right, so pop back the recliner, balance the remote on your belly like an otter, and let's talk about a thing that's going on in this election, guys. A thing that can really only be discussed comfortably in a man-friendly space. And this thing is, in part, about Bob Beaupre, who saw me just talking to Lynn Bartles about there. He's running for governor in Colorado. But first, this may be where you need to drink the beer. We need to behold the egg. Okay, we got to go to the man cave to talk about this stuff. Behold the egg, nestled in a little tube. Gentlemen, this is the other team. This is the lady people. So here's the home team. Here's you guys, the sperm, which we're going to represent here for the moment with a paisley pattern, also known as Persian pickles. Okay, so balance the remote on your belly. We're going to go live here. Behold the actual sperm, represented through the ages in medical literature as the heroic, brave, unstoppable knight, charging forth, harpooning the egg with its virile sperminess to fertilize the egg and start the process of the egg and sperm growing into a new human life. And although we have heroic ideas about sperms, every sperm is sacred, everyone is a bold little knight, right? It turns out they are not nearly as hardy as we like to think they are. And so I don't mean this as a statement on guys. I don't mean this in a way that's going to make you feel pressured. It's not a metaphor. It's just science. Sperm are kind of weak. They are easily dissuaded from their noble task. I know it can be sort of emotionally wounding to hear that, but that is really how it works, really.
Fertilization is no joke. It's not that easy, to go through all the biochemical processes for the sperm to get actually up to the egg and fertilize the egg, and for the egg then to get where it needs to be within the certain time limit. Just messing it up a little bit really disrupts the whole process.
They're fragile. I know, it's news that can be upsetting to hear, even when you get it from a nice lady doctor like Stephanie Teal. Dr. Stephanie Teal teaches at the University of Colorado Medical School. She's been a real leader in the specific part of family medicine that's about helping young women and girls not get knocked up when they don't want to get knocked up. Colorado is actually a national success story for that. In a Colorado public health effort over the last 5 years, that state has really brought down its teen birth rate significantly. And one surprising thing is the way that they've done it is in part with the type of birth control that used to be marketed basically just to middle-aged housewives. Turns out, though, that it makes a lot of sense for young women as well.
It's funny because traditionally, again, that really wasn't the population that that we were thinking about with IUDs. It really was initially marketed as something for married women who've had, a couple of kids. But again, we're really trying to turn the paradigm on its head that instead of having to do something every single day to stay non-pregnant, let's just do one thing, make non-pregnant the default state. And then when you want to get pregnant, great, come on in, start your prenatals, we'll take out your IUD or your implant, and you're all set to get pregnant. The fertility rate returns the next month with both the implant and both the IUDs. So So why not make it something that's really easy to do? Young people have such complex lives. You know, sometimes I'm at my mom's, sometimes I'm at my dad's, sometimes I'm at my apartment, sometimes I'm at my boyfriend's apartment. I have 2 part-time jobs and I go to school. Try to take a pill at the same time every day, forget about it. And that's why we see that the failure rate of pills, patch, and ring are actually twice as high for women under 21 as women over 21. It's not that the pharmacology is different and somehow the medicine doesn't work in young people. It's that it's complex to use.
The IUD helps them not get pregnant.
Exactly.
If you're young, especially.
Absolutely. And so, you know, this program where we've been able to give out over 30,000 free IUDs and implants in Colorado, you know, dropping the pregnancy rate, like we're talking about, it really gives women the opportunity to have the family they want when they want it. It's good for women. It's good for families.
What happens to women's health in Colorado if the IUD goes away?
If the IUD goes away, then basically women are back to condoms, pills, patch, and ring. The failure rate is higher. The ongoing cost is high. And women don't have the opportunity to choose one of the absolutely most effective, easily reversible, easy to use methods of birth control.
So in Colorado, they've had this huge public health success, really reducing the teen birth rate, in part because they've been using long-acting reversible contraception, including the IUD. But now, the reason it is worth asking if the IUD is going away in Colorado is because, well, yeah, maybe at the medical level, the IUD has been a clear winner there, right? Colorado's dropped the teen birth rate by 40%, making IUDs more available in that state. That's the medical part of the story. But at the political level, this very popular, very successful, very tiny form of contraception is a huge issue in this year's election because there is a political effort in Colorado to make it go away in that state. Colorado voters for the 3rd time this year are going to be voting on something called personhood, which would ban all abortion and some forms of contraception. Personhood has lost by 40 points or more the last 2 times it was on the ballot in Colorado, but they've got it on the ballot again. It's remarkable to think you could be a viable candidate for statewide office if you supported something that lost twice in that state by 40 points. But both the Senate race and the governor's race are tied in Colorado, and in both of those races, the Republican candidate has supported or sponsored personhood legislation. And so now, with personhood on the ballot, and Colorado having had this great success in reducing their teen birth rate, now at dude-friendly venues like the Colorado governor's debate, now what the campaign is about this year is talking about stuff like the IUD.
So the devil might be in the details, but I think it's an extremely important distinction to draw and understand to respect both the taxpayers' will and the technology that you've referred to. Did I answer your question?
Well, we're talking about implants and IUDs. I don't think they fit that.
IUD is an abortifacient, John.
An IUD is an abortifacient. So that's the governor's race in Colorado this year. And listen, man, I'm not a scientist, but it is possible to find scientists and to ask them about these things. And it turns out the whole Bob Beaupre idea that the IUD should be banned because it is an abortion. Because if you've got an IUD in you, you are a walking abortion clinic having abortions all the time. Turns out Bob Beaupre is not supported on the science in that assertion.
I want to ask a question about IUD.
Sure.
Because obviously IUD is something that people debate. And some people, when they talk about IUDs, opponents of IUDs in particular, describe it as though, almost as though we're sort of an ongoing abortion clinic in your body. Can you help me with that?
Yeah, that's just not true. So the way IUDs work is they actually stop sperm. So the copper IUD basically releases copper ions continually into the fluid inside the uterus, and so when sperm swim up in there, they're basically pelted with copper ions, which destroy their cell membrane and don't let them get up into the fallopian tubes, which is where they're heading to meet the egg. The way the progestin IUD works, it actually causes the cervix to make a thick plug of mucus that the sperm can't get through. And so, so both of them act to prevent fertilization.
Why do people continue to argue that the IUD is an abortifacient or essentially causing an abortion all the time?
I don't know. I think that the people who argue about it really are politicians, and they thrive on difference. There's not really any argument about it in the medical community.
None. Because in the medical community, you will find argument about whether people will or will not, in pregnancies or whatever. But in terms of what an IUD is, that's settled.
Yeah, that's settled.
And it's not an abortion clinic in your body.
It's not an abortion clinic in your body, no.
Turns out birth control is not an abortion clinic in your body. But the claim that it is appears on the ballot in multiple ways right now in the state of Colorado. There's Bob Beaupre, tied for Colorado governor, saying that he would like to ban abortion in all circumstances, and the IUD is an abortion too. That's on the ballot in the sense that he is on the ballot in Colorado. And then there's the personhood battle itself, which is now asking Colorado voters for a third time to ban all abortion and also to ban birth control because they think that some forms of birth control are abortion. Even though birth control is popular and widely accepted and widely used, you don't need a man cave to tell you that. Also, birth control is not abortion. But after all the science fiction that has been dumped into the Colorado politics around this issue this year, you might need a doctor to help sort that out.
Every so often, a patient will be concerned and say to me, well, I just was wondering, the IUD sounds great for me, but does it cause abortion? And I explain to them how it works. And, we have a discussion around that. So I would say one thing that the political debate has done is maybe confuse women a little bit. And I'm glad that my patients at least have the opportunity to talk to me about it. Obviously, some people still don't have a healthcare provider they can get to answer these questions.
We heard that same kind of thing this week in Colorado from the people who are working to try to stop the personhood amendment from passing there. They told us that much of their campaign really is about explaining to people that this whole personhood thing is designed to ban not just abortion, but also the birth control that keeps you from getting pregnant in the first place.
So then when we go in and have those longer conversations and actually help them understand the dangers of it, they're pretty appalled, and a lot of them get angry, and a lot of them say, I wasn't going to vote before, but I think I'm going to vote now. Definitely count on my vote.
That's some of what we heard in Colorado this week. Politics meet science. It's almost never an even match. We'll be right back.
Normally, fertilization takes place while the egg is in the tube. Here we can see this fertilization in closer view. After one spermatozoan enters the egg, no others enter.